of the things that I loved about your website is you mentioned, and you have a section there that talks about helping solar companies and like about how to use social media as far as posting organic content, how to make sure that, or to how important it is for solar companies to get reviews and use those to help you get referrals. And I think that's important because it's never talked about in a lot of marketing circles, and especially solar, mainly because solar marketing seems to be so direct response related, where everyone's looking to, I put this ad, how much money did I make from this ad? And you can't really track that with the other stuff. But can you tell me a little bit about, as far as what do you think solar professionals can currently do to make better use of social media, even if they don't have money for ads?
Personal brands, I mean, the people I'm talking about that kind of blew up in the groups. So creating like a personal brand that they can kind of trust, Bill, the gentleman from Leaf Solar, to really maybe create their own Instagram account or Facebook page with their face on it, have little selfie videos, go on the roof, have some live testimonials, because I think solar does work, but a lot of people don't understand it, and they obviously with the comments that we see on our ads, a lot of people think it's a scam. So just to create that personal brand maybe and do that way. But other than that, I mean, reviews are huge. Going on Google, getting as many reviews as you can. I mean, ethical ones as well, because the next thing they're going to do, if they hear you on the phone and you mentioned a solar company, they're going to type it in Google and they're going to see how many reviews you have. I mean, if you have 5, I don't think there's really a lot of trust there. But if you have 50, your closing percentages are going to be pretty high. So I would say create a personal brand, create your own separate page, do a lot of selfie videos, create a lot of testimonials. It's probably the best way to get that report. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I think the reviews are huge for like one of the reasons is SEO purposes. I mean, like everyone talks about search engine optimization, like it's this big old mystery secret formula. And honestly, the marketers talk about that because they're trying to keep it. They want people to think that they're doing a lot more than they actually are. Exactly. But for the most part, like I've seen companies that are in insanely competitive markets in a very competitive niche, and they didn't do any SEO, but they had like 400 5-star reviews and like 5-star reviews, and their competitors all had like 80. And they were number 1 on Google, and this was in like New York City, Times Square. Like this is a huge market. So I think that's one thing that people maybe don't necessarily realize is that Google, the way SEO works, and I used to do SEO a little bit back.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Okay. So the biggest thing that reviews do is obviously it helps with it just helps with authority, and that's what Google looks at when they figure out where to rank you. Obviously, there's other stuff that you do that tells Google what pages you rank for, but the domain authority is one of the biggest ones as far as getting those organic clients. Because I love paid ads as much as the next guy. But you can get number 1 on Google, and you get a few people calling you every month saying, "Hey, I want solar." That's probably going to be not going to be much better than that. Regarding the social media and the content side, I think it's important for people to produce content, because I think solar does kind of have like a bad rep when it comes to people. A lot of people think solar is a scam, and we all obviously know that that's not true, but that's just kind of something that we're battling with. And it's very important for us in our industry to educate people more about solar, about how it works, about why it's great, about how it can really save people money. So regarding that, what type of, what platform would you recommend people produce content for?
I mean, obviously Facebook, because it's cheap. It's not too complicated. I mean, there's courses out there that everyone knows that you can buy and learn. But now it is getting a little saturated. When I first started marketing on Facebook, I could put a Facebook ad there and leave it on there for 3 weeks and generate leads consistently. But now with so many other solar marketers out there, it's pretty competitive. You have to switch up your creative a lot. So I think the platform that everyone should probably look into is YouTube and Google, maybe even Spotify or Waze. I think YouTube is probably a great one. Pre-roll ads, if someone types in, how does solar work? Your ad's going to be put maybe in the middle of the video, maybe talking about solar on the roof. So that's something I think a lot of people should probably transition into. I'm learning it now, so I'm going to start transitioning probably about 30% of my ad spend on that. I know Solar Exclusive kind of transition to that as well, but it's not really a saturated market anymore. But I would just recommend, you could YouTube course on how to advertise pretty easily. There's a lot of courses out there. You just really got to be committed to the process of learning it.
For sure, yeah. Obviously the reason everyone uses Facebook is because it's the most profitable, and it's probably the easiest to do at scale for sure for us marketing guys. But YouTube, I've only done small tests, and it's something I need to get more into. But from what I hear, the YouTube, the results that people are able to get are pretty great. I mean, they're almost getting to a point where they're going to start competing with Facebook from a return on investment standpoint. And I think that is important because it's also a higher quality lead, where if they watch an entire video or they watch your ad and they click it, and they're going to be a little bit more educated rather than people that are just scrolling through a Facebook feed. Because the thing about Facebook feeds is no one really reads the entire thing.
No,
they just skim and they press buttons, and I don't really, I never do that myself. But
did I fill out this form? I don't remember filling out a form. Who is this?
Oh yeah.
So I get that all the time. But I think the true thing is like your pitch for Facebook ads versus Google is going to be completely different.
Completely different.
On Facebook, your ad pops up out of nowhere. They don't really know who the company name is. They just read that headline and maybe a little bit of the ad copy. So you really just gotta mention the ad copy, versus Google. I got 50, reviews and mention your name, so it's a totally different opening you're setting up.
Yeah, and the thing about Google too is Google is where people go to look for something. So if you're number one, more expensive for that reason. You're also, in my opinion, or my experience, you're probably a little bit more likely to get some price shoppers as well, where they're going to click all the 5 companies, try to get a quote. But the good thing about Google is you're getting those people that kind of want to buy now.
Exactly.
And that's insanely valuable. And that's obviously why Google charges a little bit more for clicks than Facebook would.
Hey, you made it to the end of my clip. That's awesome. So thank you so much. I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you. And if you made it this far, if you actually made it to the end of this clip, I would also appreciate if you could go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as that notification button. Helps me to get my videos out there and give you more valuable content. Once again, I appreciate you watching this, and I hope that you have an incredible day.